Okay, so we're given a quadratic function, and they want you to find out the vertex, the axis of symmetry, the x-intercepts, the y-intercept, and state whether the parabola opens up or down. So it does involve a lot of things. Let's do a quick review about quadratic functions and its graph. First, the general form of a quadratic function, f of x equals ax squared plus bx plus c. So this is the general form. That's how you get to know ABC. Next, the graph of a quadratic function. It's going to be a parabola, a vertical parabola. It's either going to open up like this or open down like this. How do you know which one it is? Well, you check the coefficient of x squared, which is a. If your a is greater than 0, then the parabola opens up like a smiley face. If your a is less than 0, then you have a frown face. The parabola opens down. So that solves one of the problem. According to this coefficient, a is -2. So we know that the parabola opens down. Next, let's review vertex. So for a quadratic function, we have a formula for vertex. Vertex is the point. It's the point that's on the parabola, and it's either the minimum point or the maximum point, depending on which graph it is. So if your parabola opens up, then you will have a minimum point right here. This is the vertex, right? This is the vertex. If your parabola opens down, then your vertex will be on the top, and this is the maximum point. In order to find out the coordinates of the vertex, we do have a formula for the x coordinate. So I'm going to use x sub v to represent the x coordinate of the vertex, which is given by -b over 2a. Once you find out the x coordinate of the vertex, the y coordinate of the vertex, you simply plug this x sub v into f of x. So it will be f of x sub v. So that will be how you calculate the y coordinates of your vertex. And once you've done that, you have your coordinates of your vertex. Next will be the axis of symmetry. Axis of symmetry will be a vertical line for both situations. It will be a vertical line that passes through the vertex for each case. So these two will be the axis of symmetry. And the formula says, the formula for the axis of symmetry is x equals the x coordinate of the vertex. So once you find out the x coordinate of the vertex, you also know the axis of symmetry. You just need to put it in a vertical line form. And then finally, we have x-intercept and y-intercept. X-intercept, how do you find out x-intercept? You will solve f of x equals 0 for x. So that's basically how you get the x-intercept. And then for y-intercept, you will find out what c is, because c is essentially your y-intercept. So find c. All right, let's use what we just reviewed and apply to this particular problem. The first part opens up or down. So let's first actually list out the coefficients. You have a is -2, right? B is -12, and C is also -12. Since a is less than 0, it opens down. It opens down. Next, let's find out the vertex. So let's find out the xv, which is -b over 2a. So it will be -12, that's +12, over 2a, that's 2 times -2, which is -4. So it's -3. That's the x coordinate of your vertex. To find out the y coordinate of the vertex, you just plug that into f of x. So we're calculating f of -3. Using f of x given by the problem, let's first do the skeleton form. -2 grouping symbol square minus 12 grouping symbol minus 12. So this is just coming from the quadratic function that the question gives you. And then you plug in xv, which is negative 3, and then we calculate what this is. Over here will be negative 2 times, so negative 3 squared, that's positive 9. Negative 12 times negative 3, that's positive 36, and then you have negative 12. So this one is negative 18 plus 36 minus 12. And that is 18 minus 12, which is 6. So we obtain that our vertex, the vertex is, so you just put it in the coordinate form. The x coordinate is negative 3, the y coordinate is 6. So negative 3, 6. That's the vertex. And then we can also get the axis of symmetry. Let me write over here. The axis of symmetry, so according to the formula, it would just be x equals the x coordinate of your vertex, in this case, negative 3. So that would be the axis of symmetry. And then finally, we have our x-intercept and y-intercept. We could do the y-intercept first because y-intercept is easy. Y-intercept is just going to be c. So let's check out c. Our c is negative 12. Therefore, our y-intercept, which is going to be 0, comma, negative 12. And by the way, the coordinate form will be 0, comma, c for the y-intercept. Now let's look at the x-intercept. So you're going to solve f of x equals 0 for x. So that's basically the negative 2x squared minus 12x minus 12 equals 0. So you're going to have this quadratic equation to solve. Negative 2x squared minus 12x minus 12 equals 0. So we're solving this for x. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take out negative 2 as a GCF. So that will give me x squared plus 6x plus 6. And then I'm going to apply the quadratic formula to solve. So this one, unfortunately, you cannot solve it by factoring. So you can solve it by completing the square or quadratic formula. So essentially, we're looking at this equation, x squared plus 6x plus 6 equals 0. So let's apply the quadratic formula. It will be 2a and then negative b plus minus, and then you have b squared minus 4ac. Notice that the ABC that I just wrote right here are different from the ABC from the original question because I took out the GCF. So you just have to look at what the ABC here are. We have a is 1 and b is 6, c is also 6. So if I plugged in, I will get denominator 2, numerator negative 6, plus minus. I'm going to calculate b squared minus 4ac separately. So b squared minus 4ac is, so 6 squared minus 4 times 1 times 6. That's 36 minus 24, which is 12. So we're adding square root of 12. If I simplify square root of 12, it's basically square root of 4 times square root of 3. So that's 2 square root of 3. And then finally, as you can see, we do have a GCF. If I take out the GCF and cancel out with the 2 in the denominator, we will get negative 3 plus minus square root of 3. Or you could divide each term on the top by 2. That's how you get negative 3 plus minus square root of 3. So that would be our x-intercepts. We have 2 of them as well. Finally, let's highlight all the answers. So we do have a lot of things going on in this question. The parabola opens down. That's one of the answer. And then the vertex, negative 3, comma 6. The axis of symmetry, x equals negative 3. And then the y-intercept, 0, comma negative 12. The x-intercept, negative 3 plus minus square root of 3. So these are the answers.